Well, hey there, video team. It's Austin here. I am super excited to show you for the very first time our brand new cameras 1, 2, and 5. Uh, these are brand new Blackmagic studio cameras, I should say. And these are absolutely incredible. We're super excited about these. So I'm here at Cam 2. All three new cameras for 1, 2, and 5 are identical. So I'm going to show you Cam 2 and Cam 1 because of different setups. Cam 5 is identical to 2, of course, so I'm not going to show you that. You'll see that this is completely different, but also super familiar at the same time. Also, I should say before we get too deep in, I'm going to show you the cameras up front, and then at the second half of this video, I'm going to show you our brand new switcher that we also installed today. The switcher is not required viewing for those of you who are just camera ops, but it'd be good for you to know. So feel free to watch that. Directors and tech directors and producers, please stick around and watch the entire thing so you know about the switcher. All right, so I'm going to show you what's not changed here on the camera. So you know that we have a 24 FPS setting here. Our shutter speed is 1/48 as it should be. Our iris is at 4 or as low as this camera will allow. And to note, sorry, my iPhone's out of focus there. You know that it's touchscreen as we're used to. Now here's a change. Actually, I said I was going to tell you the things that haven't changed. White balance 5600K, tint 50 as they have been and as they should be. As I started to say a second ago, we no longer have ISO on these cameras. We now have gain. As best as I can tell, 10 dB looks good on the gain. We may mess with that this upcoming weekend, but for the moment, 10 dB is what you want. Touchscreen, easy enough to configure all that. But here's the thing, this looks like more of a monitor than a camera, right? Let me show you the whole thing kind of in profile here, right? So there's your lens up front. These are the same lenses we've been using, so no changes on the lens. But you'll see that this guy kind of pans around and tilts like you'd expect it to. The screen is huge. It looks so good. Unfortunately, our stage lights aren't on right now. It looks better with those. Here on the left side of the camera, let me show you these buttons. So you've got a PGM button. This stands for program. It doesn't do anything right now. And that's because we have wired some cool new features of these cameras for the loft when we move up there. Because we're like not moved in there yet, we're at a halfway setup of these in a sense. This doesn't do everything it's going to. So PGM will, I believe in the future, it'll be able to show us our multi-view or our program feed. I'm a little unclear because I haven't tested it yet. So we'll come back to that. F1 does a feature that you're used to perhaps on the old cameras. You'll see it punches in there, the software zoom. You can see I can move that around. And this is to help me with focusing. The old cameras did this, but we didn't use it a ton. So F1 there is going to do your artificial zoom. It only does it on the camera. It doesn't do it on your output. So if you want to fine tune your focus, pressing F1 is the way to go. All the cameras do that. And then I forget if I already said this, but here's your power switch right here. Look at that, just on and off, just like that. These cameras do not come off the tripod. Please do not take them off. They are permanently wired in. I'll show you how. Here on the other side, we're now using a different kind of cable. This is the video cable right here. That's our SDI cable. It's a much better connector than HDMI. You can see the cameras have HDMI. We're just not using it because HDMI is garbage compared to SDI. The only note to that is that right now Cam 1 is using HDMI because it's in a configuration that's going to change once we get rid of the slider for the new booth. But again, that's somewhat irrelevant for operation. On the right side of the camera, you're going to see this bright, contrast, and peaking knobs. Now, the bright and contrast ones, I want you to leave right there at 12 o'clock, putting all the way up, just like that. Because what that does is it adjusts the brightness of the display itself. You can see that. That's not going to help you to really see your image well. So right there at 12 o'clock is going to be unaffected by that knob. So we want those to be there at 12 o'clock. Directors, if you find your camera ops are having trouble seeing things, you might check to make sure those are at 12 o'clock. One you can adjust is this peaking knob here. Now you'll see I've got those red dots on screen like we're used to. Just like that. I can actually adjust the intensity of them with this peaking knob there. So you can see I can bring those up and down like so just with that. And so that peaking knob is totally up to your personal preference. I'd recommend having it fairly high so that you can see that focus peaking there. Because you see, if I put it at 12 o'clock, it's almost non-existent. So we really want that focus peaking on, but it does let you kind of tune to preference and to the particular lighting of the moment there. Now, here is one of my favorite new features of the setup that is not even part of the camera, but is enabled by this camera. And that is this guy. This is called the Blackmagic Focus Demand. It's a weird name. I don't know what it means. This is a external focus wheel. So I'm going to go to my wide camera here. And you'll see as I turn this, see that camera focus peaking changing? This guy, in cams 1, 2, and 5 both have it. I'm going to go back to the camera now. See as I turn this, I can go through my entire focus range there. This guy controls the focus of the lens remotely, which means you no longer have to touch the lens In fact, you can't to control focus. While this is connected, the focus on the lens does not work. So I'm turning it. You can see nothing's happening. Now you do have to put your hand on the lens to zoom it, as you would expect. Um, but this guy is amazing. So you can see how wide that rotation is. It's got the full control of the lens there, so that you can see I'm now operating the camera and focusing with one hand, just like that. These things are incredible. So super excited about these. Hope you guys love them. They can be moved around on these tripod heads a little bit with this mount. Do check with a tech director or with me just before you do that, just to be sure that any reconfiguration makes sense. So that is the new camera setup. Look at that bad boy. It's pretty awesome. Features that are coming. Um, you'll see that we have this little label on top that says 2. That's actually a light. So once we've moved up into the loft, we have the wiring in place where this will become our tally light, rather than the iPhone that's here serving as our tally light, which it will continue to for the moment. That's going to be our tally. And the camera has this little bar here. That's a light as well. So that's going to turn red when you're live. But again, that's not to the loft. So for the moment, we're using our jerry rig janky setup there with the iPhone, but that is coming soon. So super cool. All right, let me show you Cam 1 real quick, because there's a couple quick differences there, and then we'll be on to the switcher. All right, here we are at Cam 1. So as you can see, same camera exactly. Here's the Cam 1 lens that you're used to. So there's going to be your zoom for that guy. And that works exactly as you would expect it to. The focus on the lens does not work because we have our focus demand hooked up here. Again, weird name, but it's an awesome tool. So you can see there, now I have the ability as I'm sliding to let me go to my wide camera here. I can effectively slide, focus, and adjust and tilt the camera all at the same time, which is super neato. So I love the focus demand. The one thing I want to point out here is that, as I mentioned a minute ago, Cam 1 is connected with this HDMI cable here because we didn't want to demolish this whole configuration, convert it to SDI, which again is going to be our new permanent connector there, those barrel connectors. We didn't want to demolish that to convert to SDI just for a couple of weeks here until we begin booth construction. So again, that's a bit of a real-time update for you, but there is that. So just watch out for this HDMI cable as you're panning or anything like that. Just make sure that you're not hooking that. And once again, these do not come off. So that is your update for cameras. You can see Cam 5 over there is the same as Cam 2. So nothing of note there. Please make sure not to take the cameras off. And I really hope you guys enjoy this. I think you're going to love this guy. I mean, just look at that. It's just fun to play with. So thanks for taking time to watch here. And so now we're on to the switcher. So if you're just a camera operator and you don't want to know about the switcher, you can tune out right now. But for everyone else, tech directors, producers, and directors, stay tuned. Here we go to the switcher. One quick note, actually, before I go to the switcher, I just remembered. One of the cool features about the new switcher is that we can do different multi-views in the booth than what the director sees. So I have set up a multi-view here. Let me go to my better camera. You can see there, I've got cams 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That says output 3. I'm going to fix that. It's going to say projectors. Media 1, media 2, like you're used to. But what I have the option to do, and this can all be different sizes too. We now have confidence here, nice and big, right above media 3. And then we have ME1 there. We're going to talk about that when we get to the switcher. ME1 just means program for the moment. And then kind of stuff you're used to seeing. So the confidence is here. So media operators, if you're watching this media, this is customizable, which is super cool. So tell me what you think of this. This is very much open to editing and improvement. So let me know what you think. This is what I figure you all might like, but you tell me what you like. So that is kind of a multi-view change in the booth. You're going to see the multi-view this way on all the cameras and in Josh's office at broadcast and in other places that multi-view is. So now we're going to go look at the switcher. Okay, I'm super excited about this. There she is. Look at that bad boy. I don't know about you all, but I'm a kid in a candy store right now. Right to our home screen here. So this is our new switcher, kind of. The difference now, tech directors, this is worth you knowing. Let me turn on the lights in this room. Sorry about that. There we go. Look at the difference in the back of the switcher. There's just an Ethernet cable back there, right? This is called the, what's the box say? The ATEM 1ME Advanced Panel. This is just a controller. The brains are no longer on the desk like they were with our old switcher. The brains are now there in the rack. All right. I gotta say, huge thanks to Jeff Verlinich for taking like 3.5 hours this afternoon to come help me build all this out. Could not have done this on my own. Jeff's amazing. So thank you, Jeff. Um, but there's the brains of it. So it's just this one U rack mounted guy there, and all the wiring. You can see it's a little bit janky. We just ran it across the room because again, we're only going to be in here for like another month or 2 months or something like that. So it ain't pretty, but it works, right? So let me make it prettier in here. Um, cool. So that is kind of the wiring and the setup of the switcher in this room. Directors, here's the thing to know. While everything has changed, nothing has changed. So this, focus please. This remote that you're used to turning things on with, this is still how you turn everything on. We've just got a remote outlet on the advanced panel, the controller there, and now we can't focus on anything. And there's one on the switcher in the rack. So all you have to do to turn it on, and I'm not going to turn it off right now because Selah is here doing stuff, is just the all on the remote like you're used to, or all off. So exact same function that you're used to for that. And that's going to live here on the desk like normal. So that is kind of the physical configuration. All right, so I just had to take a second to think there. One thing I want to address right away, you'll notice that while this, by the way, this multi-view is set up for the director, so you have two different multi-view options now. So this is going to look different than what we've got at front of house up there, right? Aside there. What the main difference is, while this looks the same as maybe what the directors are used to be seeing, you notice instead of program and preview, now it says ME1 and ME1 PVW or preview, right? That's because this switcher is a 2ME switcher. ME stands for mix effects. I don't, maybe some of my TDs can tell me what that means or why it's the name because I don't fully get it, but that's what it's called. Mix effects. You can think of it as like a bus, or I'm explaining it poorly. It's one mix of your video, if that makes sense. So if you're familiar with the audio world, that makes maybe a little more sense, like an aux on a sound console. But you'll note here and this maybe makes it make more sense. Can we focus on the panel here? It's too bright. You got to trust me. This says ME1 here, and this says ME2, as you can see. What I can actually do is I can have two different cuts, two different mixes of the video. And if I press ME2 here, you'll see that changes. And so now I'm cutting ME2, which doesn't go anywhere right now. And it's also not set up to show on the multi-view. But I could do a cut of the cameras that is different than so let's say, and this is the case, ME1 is our live stream feed, right? In theory, I could use ME2 to do a different cut for campus once we launch campus here. That would allow me to have a completely different set of inputs and outputs selected and used there for ME2. Sorry, I'm mixing up names here. So I want you to know that that's there, that it's now called an ME. But it's also important to know that as of right now, everything works the same as it has. So nothing has changed except that it's really cool looking and has more buttons. Directors, you can roll in here and just switch like you're used to. Now, the cool thing about this switcher, and part of the reason we upgraded, is that this gives us the ability to do all sorts of cool new stuff in the future, right? The potential of the old switcher, we were maxed out, my friend. This guy, we have not even scratched the surface of what it can do, right? There's all sorts of cool things that we can do. So I won't even get them into this video. We'll start to implement them over time as we need them and have cool ideas and want to do stuff. So business as usual, but everything's new, right? I want to point out one thing that might be relevant to know if there's ever a failure of any kind, which I don't expect, but you note that this switcher here in the rack actually has buttons on the front. So I can press 2, and you'll see that 2 is now on preview. And then I can press cut here on the switcher. You have to trust me. This says cut. And it switches cam 2 to live. Boop, boop. Whoops. I can switch from the switcher here. Now, are you going to use that? Nope. But it's there. So that's cool. All right, let's get into the nitty gritty of it. Directors, let me go back to here. You'll see, oh, there we go. Thanks for exposing iPhone. You'll see that we now have screens that tell us what each channel is or what each input is. So your preview row is same. You have to trust me. It's actually labeled here. You can see it in person. It says preview. This is labeled. We've got this really cool, this is called a scribble strip. All of these names can be changed in software. and you just cut like you used to. So you can preview right there. You can press the top row to take it to live. There's my switching happening just like that. Or there's a cut button right here, just about where you're used to, and I can press that button to switch as well. So you literally can do exactly what you're used to, which is super rad. Um, cool thing, I think I told a few of you about this. We now have this really cool T-bar, this is called, that'll do our fades for us. So Bill, you got your fades, my man. It's really nice. It's really cool to use. It's got different transitions and stuff here. A lot of this we'll go over in person because I don't want to bore you forever with video. The one thing that there's a couple things you should know. Actually, we're not done yet. I don't want to practice. Promise to wrap up before I am. You'll see this key 1 here says on. That is the Media 2 overlay. So you remember it was, I think it said DSK1, like in this area on the old switcher. Now it's just on key 1 right here. So you see if I press off there, that takes off our Media 2 overlay there. And if I press on, there we go. That's also available. So if I press it off here, I did this while I was directing a few weeks ago. I accidentally turned it off. You'll see that the Stream Deck here, Media 2 Lyrics is off. If I press on there, that's going to bring it back. And I'm going to have my Media 2 back on the screen, just like that. Now, it's going to turn on this way. So as long as you don't turn it off, you won't have to worry about it. It'll just be on. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything here. You've got an auto transition button, just like we used to have. So I'll do an auto fade for us, just like so. I kind of hate it, but it's there. And one change that I have made to the multi-view that I would love your feedback on, you'll probably noticed it, that on the cameras, I've added the white line that we've talked about, right? This switcher allows you to put specific frame guides on the cameras themselves, not just on preview. So if we're looking at, we're framing up for sermon and we want to help cam 2 to get that headroom right, we'll be able to see it right there on the input. Now that can be turned off. Directors, if that's driving you crazy, tell me, we can turn it off. But I think it might be helpful. So you tell me what you think. And then again, you'll see we've got confidence here because that's good for us to see Media 1 and Media 2. The cool thing about this digital setup here is that we don't have to have confidence on here anymore. So this button, I didn't think it did anything. Okay, sorry about that. I had accidentally, there was an input here that I had just put like a dash through, like it wasn't an input, and I'd accidentally left it there. I've now removed it, and now that button actually does nothing. And so we can see confidence on screen, which is really cool, but we can't switch to confidence because I have taken that to program before. So now that's fixed. And then you've got Media 1 here in the spot where you would expect it to be. Media 2 is not on the console because we don't need it. It's just running in the background and doing its thing. And so I think that's it. I think that's there's much more to this thing that I haven't even had a chance to play with yet, but this is the basics, and hopefully this gets you set for your next time on console here. I think you all are going to like this. This new system is so cool. Thanks for taking the time to watch this 18-minute video. Really appreciate your time. I know it's a lot, and listening to me yak for all this time. So thank you. If you have questions, please come find me. If you have input on stuff like the multi-view, camera setups, that whole thing, please let me know. Because as usual, none of it's set in stone, and we really are building this plane while it's in the air. So appreciate y'all. Thanks for taking the time. I'll see you later.